Side of goal! Oh, what a goal!
What's the crack? What's the bleeding story? How are you all doing and all that bollocks? Well, the bleeding story is that now, without being only 2 points ahead of City, with 2 games having been played more, the Championship Challenge is officially over. And once you're all in, the crack shall begin, or in this case, the inquest shall begin. Now, I'm going to get some ridiculous internet issue, right? But oh, bloody hell. Okay, let's try now. Hopefully things are working. Okay. So, yeah. As I said, the inquest shall begin, and I know that a lot of you are going to obviously have a lot of things to say. For me, there isn't really much I can say. I mean, I was hopeful that this game at least would show a little bit of fight. I was predicting a 3-1, and of course, when Holding scored, at least I could be satisfied that my prediction would come true. But no, they just had to let Haaland back in. And all I can say is that, you know, the way Arteta approached this game, we got exactly what we deserved. And his refusal to, be willing to adapt and be more pragmatic and try and change things up for the sake of trying to make things better is what has cost us this game. We all know, however, that he's not going to leave and he is enjoying a great deal of popularity. And even before the game, there were several articles saying, you know what? I mean, blog posts saying, you know, because we never expected a challenge. Top of the league, we were on top of the league for 32 weeks, and we muck up like this. And this is the second time that we've let a big lead slip. I can't think of any player apart from maybe Ramsdale who had a decent game today. And even then, there could be questions asked for him about the first goal from Kevin De Bruyne. Even the last one, allowing it to slip under him was not really what we wanted. But again, that was so late in the game. It was just the final nail in our coffin. We're not going to be champions this time around, and all hopes that I had have been extinguished. When the facts change, I changed my mind. If I had my way, Arteta would be out today. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he's a lost soul. But it'll be the same crap year in, year out, and that's the way it's going to be. But once again, thank you all for joining in. I want to try and make this as short one as possible, and obviously Del Boy isn't here because he has to get an early night because he will be going to Spain in the morning. However, let me add you all in, regulars to our chat or people who have made appearances before, and since you are the first ones in, we will now let the inquest begin. Let me start by our senior most guest tonight, Mr. Sullivan. You must be absolutely livid.
Yeah, I am very sad, very frustrated as an Arsenal fan. I knew that was going to happen tonight. I predicted 4-0 and also predicted when we slapped Leeds up 4-1 that Rob Holding was going to lose us the title, and that's exactly what he's done. He's made mistakes against all the big boys. He's pushed people over at Anfield, giving away penalties. And tonight he gets bullied by Haaland, twisted around for the first goal, turned, spun, whatever you want to call it. And for the second goal, I don't think I've ever seen an Arsenal defender jump. You know, like one of them, when you go to the fair and you see them horses on the merry-go-round like that. He looked like one of those horses. All he did was jump and just watch John Stones like this, just nod a ball in for a goal. And although I think that was a VAR fraud and we were done a bit of a wrong move there by the officials and it was offside, we should have been 4 down in that first half. Had it not been for Ramsdale, we'd have been 4 down. But it goes deeper than just tonight. We actually looked all very tired tonight. And weirdly enough, when Nelson-Eddy combination come on with about 10 minutes left. They actually had some fresh legs, and all of a sudden we created a chance and got a goal. But the rest of the team just look about 50% of their normal freshness, zip. There's nothing there, and it just looks like we knew what was coming at that ground today. And unfortunately, Arteta has got no plan B whatsoever, as we saw. He didn't bring any subs on any quick enough, any what should have been bought on. Trossard should have come on a lot earlier. Saka has got nothing left in his tank now at the moment. And it's just another disaster. And the trophy camp, there'll be much like Tottenham Hotspurs again this season. And yet all our fan base go around laughing that Tottenham don't win nothing. Well, guess what? Here's the news. Neither do we. And we won't be as long as this manager's in charge. So if you actually want to do something positive for your club, you keep on about us being positive because all we do is criticise. How about you get a little bit positive, get off your dream coat machine or whatever you call it, your dream machine with Arteta, and actually start calling this out for what it is, which is failure. So, start being real. Because until you can start being real, you're going to watch the same season in, season out. Rant over.
Rinse and repeat. And here's your comment right
Exactly.
here. Arteta must go tonight. Listen. I want to make sure that all of you are going to be silent until you get to speak. I don't want any interruptions. Okay. So,
Yep.
Mr. Sullivan, here's your comment. Arteta must go tonight. Another losing season. We all know, sadly, that he won't go and that he will be backed. But you did say that there could be pressure applied. And I want to be brief with you before I go to Central, man. Do you believe that next season will be a watershed and the performances do really start to nosedive, as they might? Pressure could be applied on the board to finally cut him loose?
Well, what's going to happen next season? I don't think we're going to have as kind of fixture list as we got this season, right? So we just played Liverpool, Man City away. We've got 1 point out of 6. We were lucky to get that 1 point. And if we don't make any signings in the summer, which I don't think we're going to make a great deal of signings, because what this board are going to do is clap Arteta and say, what a jolly good job you've done for us. You've got us in top 4. Here comes more money with the Champions League. So they'll see that as success. And they'll say to him and Edu probably something like, look, we're business people. Why do we need to spend? We've just made progress. All them fans in the ground, they're all delighted. They all think you're one of the superstars. Actually, we ain't going to give you much money for transfers because you don't really need it, because you've got a lovely, young, developing squad, right? So, but having said all that, I do think next season, let's say we get our first 3 fixtures or 10 fixtures. We got Man City away, Liverpool away, Chelsea at home, Tottenham at home. Let's say we go and drop a few points in that, and then we're sort of 6th and 7th. I think the knives would be sharpening again pretty early, really. And that's what I predict. I think we're going to get proper fixtures next season. There's no European or World Club tournaments, international level. All the players will be up for it. I think a lot of early doors this season, the players were sort of saving themselves for the big World Cup. There is no World Cup, so everyone's going to be foot to the floor, flat at it. And I actually think Arteta will get found out in the early part of next season, unless some miracle happens and they go and bring some rough diamonds in, people that have been around the block a bit, sort of Jordan Henderson type players that have got a bit of Champions League and Premiership winning pedigree to strengthen up, because we ain't got the strength. We ain't got the. We're a young. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, we're a young team. We're a young team." We shouldn't be a young squad. We shouldn't be a young team. We should have a few youngsters, but not as many as we got. No way should we have as many youngsters in there, because Martin Keown is just finishing his BT Sports analysis saying, oh, well, Arsenal have done well this season, but Man City are much stronger. They're about 10 years ahead of Arsenal. 10 years. Is that what you think? That we've all got 10 years to wait until we even compete for more trophies? It's not good enough. So, in answer to your question, I think there's hope. There's hope that Arteta will get found out in the early part of next season, and then perhaps he can go. Who we're getting as a manager, we all know we need, but will that lot go for what we need? I don't know.
Okay, Central, I will come to you, but I want to get Matt Odom in first because I know he has to hop off quick because he got to prepare for his fan cam with Lee Gunner. Mr. Odom, a very good afternoon to you. You must really be absolutely livid as well. I can't wait to hear what you've got to say. You've always got something very colorful to say.
Well, I'm not lit. I'm not lit up at all because I already knew what was coming. I mean, we've been dealing with this for 3 weeks. We've been dealing with this exact same thing for 3 weeks. The manager has. I'm right behind. I'm in 100% agreement with Darren. The manager needs to go. 3 weeks in a row, the same exact team goes on to the pitch. What did we see at halftime, fellas? The same exact thing that we've seen 3 weeks. Me and Tony Gunner, we just got Claude. We just got to going back and forth about Arteta, and I had to tell him. I said, people are gonna go make this narrative. They're gonna say, well, we shouldn't get rid of the manager right now. No, this is the second year in a row that we have been in a situation where we were in control of the situation and have lost total control of the situation. We did it last season. We're doing it again this season. Him and Edu, far as I'm concerned, both need to be sacked before the clock strikes 12 tonight. Tonight's performance was an absolute joke. 4-1. 4-1. And how ironic a defender scores the goal tonight to put on the board. Erling Haaland is out there looking like Vigo from Ghostbusters 2 with his hair down, cruising the boulevard. Just whatever he wanted to do tonight, he could do. Whatever they wanted to do. If they felt like putting 10 on the board, they could have put 10 on the board. I believe Pep had mercy. If it had been anybody else, they probably would have put 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 on the board. But because Pep and Arteta got that relationship, he still holds some form of respect for the man. We look cheaper than a $2 bra tonight. We look absolutely pathetic tonight. We've looked pathetic the last month. And people are still clutching at straws when it comes to this team. We're done, ladies and gentlemen. There's nothing else to see here. We know how this is going to unfold. And I've got news for you all. This same team tonight, we're going to play 2 teams that's going to be in Champions League. Well, we played one. We got another one in about 2 or 3 weeks that's going to be in the Champions. That's looking like they're almost a shoe-in for the Champions League. That's Newcastle. Tonight, we just got dismantled by this team. And yeah, we all had a laugh at Tottenham this past weekend, but we're going to have to deal with that same thunderstorm that's coming our way from Newcastle, a team that's probably, and I'll go on the record and say it, they're probably going to win a title before we do because they're doing more with less. They're doing more with less than what we do. They've got a manager who brought their team all the way from League 2, all the way up to the Premier League and kept them afloat. And then he goes out, they hadn't splashed the cash. They've got decent players, pretty good players, a core, as we like to throw around here, Arsenal, because we've been hearing that for years. We've got a core, they've got a core. And so what do you see over there? A team that's almost mirroring when Man City came into cash. Mirroring, it's spooky almost to see exactly how devastating that Newcastle can be. And then there's another team that nobody's even talking about. And I'll drop the bomb in here as well. Aston Villa has money to spend, ladies and gentlemen. People forget Aston Villa's got money to spend. And where are they at in the table, ladies and gentlemen? They're going to be competing for European places as well. And so now, guess who? They have another avenue to go in and poach our transfer aspects. As long as we're not buying some guy that washes cars from Poland, if it's anybody of note, then we're in trouble. But see, Arsenal fans have not accepted the reality. Tonight was a glimpse of. You saw it if you looked at the game, you saw the look in the fans' faces. That look, they showed one gentleman, he was leaned over, slumped over the rail. That's the look that you're going to see at the end of the season when people realize that title is gone. You're going to see a lot more people with that look on their face. They're going to see that look on their face next season when we're not even competing for a title. We're going to be competing for Champions League again next year. It's going to be, we got to get back in the Champions League because that's the reality of what's coming, y'all. And people better face up with it. They better realize that this year we got like Steve said, Darren said, we got lucky. We had a really, really kind fixture schedule starting this season, and we made the most of it. And now that the chickens have come home to roost, now things look different. And the reality of the matter is, if we don't start our transfer business, which I highly doubt we will, because we hadn't done that in the last few seasons, and done our transfer business the right way, we are going to be further off than we are right now. Tonight, this last month has been a complete and utter total missed opportunity on all levels. This season has been a complete missed opportunity. The transfer window. Look at what we had. Arteta tonight brought in Emmitt Smith-Rowe. I didn't even know the boy was still on the team sheet. I thought he was hurt. And until somebody told me recently that he's been on the bench. Well, why the hell why not he's been playing this guy? Because we were told that in January, Emmitt Smith-Rowe, he's coming back. They had promos. They were cutting promos like it was WWF wrestling. He's on the way back. He's coming back. He's coming back. And then what do you see? Now you see him tonight, 70th minute, 3-0. That is absolute scandalous. Eddie Nketiah comes on when the game is almost over with. All the players come on. Why was Trossard not starting again? What? I mean, here's a guy that we brought. Manny, you heard back in January. Well, we're buying Jorginho for experience. And where was the experience at? Oh, it came on in the 70th minute. In a game where you need a little experience. Partey's been off the boil. I'm starting to think he's hurt. He's been off the ball the last couple of weeks. Saliba's out for the year. I think I told some of y'all a couple of weeks ago, I said a back injury is the worst one to get because you don't know when you're going to be good. So he's out of it. We're done across the board, fellas. We're done. And people have got to accept tonight that the reality was that the seed was planted. And if we aren't careful, we're going to be irrelevant. That's what I'm worried about. I'm worried about becoming irrelevant as a football club. That's what hurts me the most because I've been blessed, and most of us on this panel have been blessed to see us as relevant, and it's starting to erode away. I feel like we're becoming what Newcastle used to be. And if anybody watched the Premier League, know that Newcastle back in the day was a solid club, and then they just fell by the wayside for the longest. And now they're rising back to prominence. So a lot of these younger kids are going to say, Newcastle, they're going to see Newcastle the same way we all know what Manchester City used to be. Claudio Reyna. That tells you all you need to know about what Manchester City used to be compared to where they are now. Sorry about that long rant, fellas.
No, it's all right. It's all right. Listen, and I think people have been comparing our challenge this season to a Cinderella story. It will be a long coach ride back to London. I just hope and pray that the coach does not turn into a pumpkin and the drivers don't turn into rats. But anyway, we're going to get some more people coming in. Now, Matt, listen, before you have to leave for Lee's fan cam, just tell us when you're leaving so that we can shout you out. But now it's time for Central to come in. Central, good evening, son. I hear you drowning your sorrows. Is it Carling this time, or Guinness, or what's on the menu?
Copper. It's cider. It's Copperberg.
Cider's good. I mean, I like Stella Artois, but we're not here to promote alcohol. But
it's strawberry and lime. Anyway.
But anyway, so I mean, you said the first comment that was an absolute pile of sugar, honey, and iced tea. What else do you want to say? Fire away.
This season's done, man. I think, we blown it, man. Like the only slight positive, if City is going to slip up, I don't think they're going to slip up. I think, man, like April is the rough time for us, man. You know, like we got an opportunity to wrap the league up, and we didn't. Like four games, like Liverpool drop points, West Ham drop points, Southampton drop points, City lost. It's just like it's like this is like a top. This is going to be a white fest for the top Gooners. You know, because we made it into the Champions League. It's like really, like we haven't won the league in 20 years, and we're qualified for competition. We haven't won it ever. You know, reaching like one final, one semi-final, getting bad 5-1 to Bayern Munich, getting knocked out in the last 16 every single season. So, anyway, but in this game, yeah, I thought I was going for a draw. You know, I was a little confident, like we might get a draw, slip them up, slow them down a bit. But like the team news, the team was a bit wrong. You know, first off, Zinchenko playing as a left back instead of his midfield. Just play as a midfield. Like I don't understand. Like, yeah, I don't say Zinchenko is a bad player. No, he's a good player. Good player, but a bad defender. He's better off as a midfielder. Tierney, like Saka, man, he's like I'm gonna say Partey's a bit burnt out, man. I think he's just like the last few games. You can tell like he's burnt out. You know, he needs a rest. You know, I don't understand why Jorginho's not getting the start. That Polish kid is not getting like any game time. Trossard's not getting a single start. Like Trossard, like it's like we're paying like decent amounts of money, even though like Jorginho is about 35. No, not 35-ish. I think it was about small amount of money, but yeah, we're paying money of players that's are on the bench. Like, what's the point? Buying these players, if you're not going to play him, like start. Like Trossard should have start. Should have start. He might like put like these defenders under pressure, but like I'm a bit not really angry, but fed up at this moment in time. It's like this is 3 years and crap. Or three going on 4 years and crap, but it's like that. It's just like going back before we're winning trophies 10 years prior. We're Arsenal Football Club. We should not be challenging top four. We should be winning cups, leagues, titles, being the best of the best. Why we're acting like a small club? But acting like we're a big club acting like a small club. We've got like a small club mentality. It's just ridiculous. We moved to a new stadium. We've been in the Emirates for 17 years. And so far, we won 4 FA Cups. Cool. FA Cups is cool. I'm not going to slag out the FA Cup. A trophy's a trophy. But we haven't won the league in 19 years. This is our best opportunity to win the league title because we're very lucky, man. We are damn lucky because Liverpool, like, I was rooting for Liverpool, like, going to merge a proper title challenge again, what they did last season for this season. But unfortunately, that's not the case. But, like, we are lucky, man, to be in the title race. But, we bottled it. We had the opportunity to really wrap this league up. If we just won these matches in the January time, after the or February time, and the April time, we should have won it. But now we're just like we're hanging by a bit of a thread. We got a game on, I think it's Tuesday. Tuesday against Chelsea. Like City got a game this weekend. If they win, they're above us. We got Brighton and Newcastle and Forest. Forest starting to pick up the form. It's just like, man, it's just like, really, I'm a bit frustrated because we were top of the table for the whole bulk of the season, and we're congratulated in April. That is bullshit, man. And I'm sorry, that's my 2 cents on it. So.
Yeah, I mean, you haven't said anything that none of us are going to say. Static, let me bring you in. First of all, thank you very much for coming on. And let me hear what you have to say. Sitting over there with your sunglasses, looking quite cool, but inside you must be absolutely distraught.
First of all, hello to the panel. It's good to see all of you boys. I'm Absolutely furious with that performance. I actually, believe it or not, I actually predicted 3-0 to Man City. So I almost got my prediction right. But I still predicted a 3-goal loss. So it's just only one team showed up tonight, and that was Man City. They were hungry right from the start. They wanted it a lot more than Arsenal. It's just, we were all over the place. You'd think that they would have taken notes from how Brentford won away against Man City, just how they did it. You think that we would try and implement some sort of game plan, but no. The fact that, as what Matt said, we picked pretty much the same team as the last few games, and look what happened. We dropped points yet again. Partey, he was all over the place. He was getting absolutely ripped apart in the middle of the park. He was very lucky not to not get sent off, especially when he kept tussling with Haaland and Grealish. It's just, he was all over the place. Just once again, we let Kevin De Bruyne destroy us. He loves scoring against Arsenal. I think he's been at Man City for 7 years and he scored at least 8 times against us. Well, why do we always let De Bruyne score against us? It's just every time. It's just, but yeah, as soon as they score that third goal, I was like, yep, game over. But yeah, look, boys, as far as I'm concerned, the league title is done. It's over. I had to bite my tongue for a few weeks because for some weird reason, I had some stupid hope, that we might do this, but it's just, as the old saying goes, it's the hope that kills you. So it certainly killed me tonight. And as far as I'm concerned, the league title's done.
Yep. I still had some hope too, just like you. But I think when the facts change, people change their minds. I changed my mind on Arteta after Sporting Lisbon, and I changed my mind on the title after tonight. And I want to introduce someone who we all very fondly know as one of our regulars, who always shoots from the hip, and who said earlier than many of us that we're not winning the league. Mr. Walsh, it's all aboard the Wexford Express. You have once again been proved right. Strap on your seatbelt, folks, and enjoy the ride.
Big up to the panel, first of all legends. Big up to the chat. And Darren, my condolences, brother, all right?
Oh, thank you, Carl.
I hope you're okay, man.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Where do I begin? I'll tell you where I begin. I'm hoarse from shouting at the TV screen. I've supported this football club for 38 years. 38 years. And tonight, after that game, I posted up on my Facebook account. I say, question, how many more years am I to support this process? When does accountability take place for failure year in, year out? You should see the amount of comments I'm after getting back from Arsenal fans and Man United fans, Spurs fans, Chelsea fans. The Arsenal fan base writing back to me on Facebook, what are you talking about, Kai? Are you not happy that we got Champions League spot? This is on my Facebook account. This is an absolute disgrace. One fella wrote to me read ignorantly, stop putting shit up on Facebook for the sake of us. Get behind your team. Are you not happy with Champions League spot? It's embarrassing what's going on with this fan base. Now let me get to the game. Because as far as I'm concerned, the fan base are all a crowd of fucking idiots. Every single one of them. But there's a few lads that are getting smart there on Facebook, but I'm going to see those little few fellas now face to face and we see how fucking smart they are then. So I'm going to say this now about this whole situation. Number one, that first half, we got a football lesson. No shots on target. We're fighting to win the Premier League title and no shots on target in the whole half of that game. Jesus is supposed to be our goal scorer, supposed to be our striker, and he's out on the wing. Odegaard is our captain. How long, Manny? You know, Manny, about this. How long am I shouting about Odegaard? The man is a disgrace to the football club. He had no captain to my club. Players there walking around. It was a walk in the park for Man City tonight. It's embarrassing. And half-time came. And the Man City players walking out the field. And what did I see? Jorginho going over De Bruyne and hugging him. And he had to score against us. And then he's coming on at half time, or at 60 minutes, he's coming on. And I see him and he's smiling again. And we're getting paid 4-1. It's terrible. This is the standard of club is at. And people say I'll be happy. Second place. In elite sport, it's about number 1. Not number 2. Happy to be in Champions League? Are you joking me? We can't beat Sporting Lisbon in the Europa League. Never mind the top teams in Europe. The whole thing is a joke. It's embarrassing. And it might not mean much to a lot of players or a lot of fans, but it means everything to me. 38 years supporting them, traveling up to Dublin Airport, 2-hour drive. Then I get in the airplane over to England. And then I go to see the game and coming back, do the same thing in the one day. Because I love this club. And this is what I'm looking at tonight. And people saying, oh, it's Man City. They have top players, top manager, all the rest of it. And they do. But put in a performance. There was no performance. There was no heart, no determination, no will to win. There was nothing there tonight. And I think they outclassed the game. Our team outclassed in every position on the field. It's embarrassing. And it ain't good enough. It ain't good enough. I'm very saddened tonight. I'm very saddened because the club I grew up with, the club I loved, I was about competing to be the best. And that to me is now competing to be the best. And the fan base is accepting it. And they're getting on to me about it on Facebook. It's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. I don't know where this club has gone. It's not the club I once loved anyway and all that. And you have Martin Keown talking shite again that we're going to challenge next season. And I think this is great stuff, Bernardo, a great season. I'm sick and tired of these ex-players. Ain't right to say them on Instagram the other day. They're all talking shite. They don't care about the club. We care about it. I want to see us winning the league. Not second place. Not second place. It's terrible. I'm very saddened tonight because I care. And all of us here care. But I don't see anyone else care. It's terrible. I'm heartbroken. I'm absolutely devastated.
Yeah, and this is a time when we have to take Mr. Walsh seriously because whenever he comes over here and, speaks really angrily, he always speaks from the heart. But I do detect a few tears in your voice, Kyle. It hurts a lot of us too, but the fact that you feel it here, you're a tough act to follow. And if many of this so-called fan base had your passion and your interest of the club at heart, the club would be in a much better place right now. And next season, there is hope, as Darren said. The only hope is that hope in history rhymes, as the great Irish poet Seamus Heaney would say. Mr. Odom, if you are here, I will get you to just answer this question quite briefly. And I know you have to go to your fan cam for Lee. But, I took a look at the lineup today. And once again, the only real change from the lineup, the team that got completely ripped apart by Southampton, only to show fight and spirit to get back to 3-3, was that Granit Xhaka came back as a team and there was no Fabi Vieira. But again, there was no Kieran Tierney at left back. It was the same formation which, Arteta will always pretty much pick. And what was interesting as well was that although Guardiola had said earlier on about Kyle Walker not being the type of person to play the way he wants to play in the system, Walker started tonight and actually bossed the right-hand side of the defense and made sure that Gabriel Martinelli never really had a sniff. But as for us, we showed that we had no plan B. So before you leave, I want you to tell me what you thought of the lineup and what you saw as the main difference tonight between the master and the student. Because to me, it seems that the student, supposedly the A student, has shown that he is not willing to learn. Because once you graduate from school, you still have to learn. And it's either arrogance in not choosing to learn, or the unwillingness or the inability to learn, or it could be both. Or maybe he just doesn't know what he wants to do. Let me hear your thoughts, and then I'll shout you out before you have to go, yeah? You're mute, mate.
All right. In America, we've got this thing called social promotion. And that's exactly what Arteta had. They just passed him just to pass him. He hadn't learned a damn thing. Because if he learned anything, Monty, he would have made some type of adjustments. Tierney would have started a game in which he knew that there was going to be problems on that side. Emma Smith Rowe would have started because Saka's been kind of flat the last 3. This is stuff we've looked at. We've sat here for the last 2 or 3 weeks and went back and forth over all of this. If we as the collective community can all see that, how can a man getting paid millions of dollars can't see that? Lack of experience in critical position will cost you every single time. And stubbornness, inability to change. The mark of a good manager is one that's willing to say, my way is not working. Let's go to what is working. Quite frankly, I said this last week on my fan cam with Lee. I would have not moved, would not have taken Trossard out of that team because Trossard in that whole when we had a run that it was working. Then he goes and tinkers. Then he turns around and I looked at Zinchenko tonight. Did you see Zinchenko just flailing to the floor? He was like a young boy. They just get out. They just moving him around. Kyle Walker, he runs over with Kyle Walker. Kyle Walker just moves him out of the way, just pushes him to the side. Like pushes him to the side. This is Premier League, y'all. Just pushes the man to the side. We have a bunch of players that's weak and weak mentally. The manager's weak. The owner is weak. The director of football is weak. We are a weak football club. We are a shell. We are a shell of what the Arsenal used to be. We know Arsenal as the Invincibles. We know Arsenal is when Dennis Bergkamp joined. And for some of you all, David O'Leary and some of the older guys, y'all know. Y'all been through some dark times. But y'all ain't been through this. This is uncharted territory. And people will not be satisfied. I'll say it again. I told you I'm going to start hammering it. I'm going to hammer this every time I get a chance. Until Newcastle is lifting a trophy. Do people realize that West Ham has an opportunity to almost hoist the trophy if they do what they need to do before we do a European title? For all this Champions League talk I've been hearing. And then you asked about the lineup. That lineup was done when that January transfer window closed, Monty. We didn't go do the business. We should have conducted ourselves like we wanted to win the title. I guarantee you, if Man City was in that same situation and they were on the backside and they just needed a few things to get over the line, then what would they do? Because we bought 2 players to fund them getting Erling Haaland. We bought 2 of their players to fund that. What just put a goal on us tonight. We paid for that goal. We put the down payment for that goal today. That's the way I want people to look at it. We're paying other teams for their success. That's ass backwards as far as I'm concerned. This is not Ajax. This is Arsenal Football Club. We are well off the path. And for Martin Keown to sit up there tonight and say we're just a few steps behind shows the delusion of these ex-football players. They went after Lee Dixon last week when he criticized about Zinchenko of Vieira. No, we need that kind of criticism. We need players coming out and complaining. We need more Patrick Vieiras. We need more TT Henry's complaining. We need real players in this organization standing up and saying, this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable to be 11 points in January, and now you're praying and hoping for other folks to do the job that we should have did for the last 3 or 4 weeks. This manager sat there all week long. Somebody asked it in the chat earlier. What were the players doing at practice this week? What were they doing? I guess they were practicing the parsing. I guess that's what they were doing this week, just practicing the parsing, just having a good time. You know, y'all see it on Twitter like I do. They all these challenges and kicks and all this running around and all this stuff. We saw it on the Amazon, all this showboat. We need to see hard practices. I need to see men sweating. I need to see mud flying, fights. When's the last time you heard about teammates fighting on the team because somebody can't get the job done? That's all indicative of how rosy and cute this football club has become. We've become cute. It's all about sexiness. We go out and we just a few passes here, and we're gonna flick here, and we'll do a little something there. We'll make everybody feel good. We'll hype everybody up. Where was the goals at tonight? One shot on goal for the most part of that game until we got a goal. It was absolutely pathetic. We had strikers out there and couldn't hit the side of a barn. Suckers out there still doing the same foolishness that he was doing 2 and 3 weeks ago, losing the ball, not passing when he should be. Jesus is playing defensive midfielder. This is money. This is the manager. And I've got people telling me, don't go in on the manager. As Darren stated earlier, he must go. That's where I'm at with it now, y'all. He must go. I've seen this for 4 years. I don't need to see anything less, anything more. At least with Sir Alex Ferguson, it was 2 years, I believe. He hurried up and fixed it and got it straight. No. This is 4 years with this guy, going on 5. Nothing's changing, ladies and gentlemen. Nothing's changing. And I don't want to have another opportunity where we can bring in a quality manager and it passes us by. I watch Klopp go to Liverpool. I watch Mourinho go right back and win again. Ancelotti went to Everton of all places when we should have been trying to get him. He goes to Everton. All these world-class managers just pass Arsenal by. And then we just have to sit there and look at it. And I'm tired of other fans telling me, because y'all, I had to get on somebody tonight. So, well, y'all Arsenal is second place, man. It's all right. No, it was a Chelsea fan of all people. I said no, because y'all know if Chelsea was in first place and did this, y'all would fire everybody down to the janitor and to the boy who brings the ball boy. They'd fire everybody all the way down. When are we going to get this mentality of when, hey, enough is a freaking enough? We're not accepting this. I'm tired of it. I felt the pain when Kyle was just talking. I shedded my tears a few years ago. I know how Kyle feels there, because when you invest yourself into your football club, you expect the football club to perform at the highest level. You guys over there across the farm, y'all are paying the highest ticket prices. They don't give a damn about the working man. Y'all are paying the highest ticket prices. Jerseys through the roof. Every week a new kit coming out. They've only worn that kit, that pink kit 2 or 3 times this year. But they want you to buy it though. Enough is enough. Where is the money going? Who is spending it? How is it getting spent? Are we seeing the proof of the money being spent? The only proof I'm seeing is we're funding everybody else's success except ours. Okay. And I'm sorry.
You couldn't have said it perfectly better. And that's why I'm really glad to have fans like you and everyone else on here, because you know what? As I've said to you in your earlier video, we can't serve you piss and call it peach cobbler, eh?
I appreciate it, fellas. I appreciate it. It frustrates this team. It frustrates me, man. It really does, y'all. It really gets me upset. We're all in our a group on Instagram. That's why I'm quiet so much, because I get riled up, man, when I look at where we were and how far we have fallen behind these other teams, man. We are so far behind some of these teams. It looks like it's a saying we got down south. This is fool's gold. It looks like it's gold, exactly, but it's not gold, ladies and gentlemen. This is a mirage. This is what we're seeing as a mirage. This is, as someone stated earlier, papering over the cracks. And it looks like it's good. It's not good, y'all. This is going to get worse before it gets better. I'm just priming everybody. Just get ready. It's going to be worse before it gets better. And next year, when we get into that Champions League and you look up and you'll see us, and folks will be wondering, well, how are we losing to Sporting these teams like Sporting Lisbon? Because they'll be back over in there. You see all these teams. And I want to preface this too. People forget, we talk about this European thing. People forget we lost to Juventus C team in December. The C team, y'all. The C team. That's what we lost to in Juventus, the C team. And they telling me, oh, well, we got Champions League. Man, please. I told y'all, if we get in that Champions League and get put right back out, you might as well go get Arsene Wenger because it was the same thing that everybody raised hell about him doing. And just bring him back and let's just rinse and repeat. If that's all y'all want is Champions League, cool. I know what to do from now. If that's the case, I know how to take every season. If that's all y'all want is just to say y'all got Champions League, that's cool. How did it work out for Spurs? That's all I got to say. We give Spurs all this show. How did it work out for Spurs?
Exactly. It didn't work out at all. But listen, before you leave, I know you got your fan cam with Lee. Do please shout yourself out, shout out your socials, and tell us where we can find you. And I need to bring someone else in once you leave.
Fellas, people, ladies and gentlemen, y'all can follow me at the Southern Gooner. I've been kind of quiet. I've been working a lot. After next week, I'm gonna get some guests lined up, and we're gonna have to have some therapy because that's the only way we're gonna make it past these next few weeks is through some therapy and discussion because it's gonna be rough. The next few weeks, get prepared, y'all. Get prepared. It's gonna be a rough ride.
Okay.
Big up to you,
thanks
Matt.
Yeah,
Big up to the chat, man. Love each and every one of y'all, man. It's good to see you, Darren. You're in my prayers, man. I know what you're going through. Lost my grandma last year, so definitely in my prayers, my brother. Static, good to see you, brother. Monty, always good to see you. Central Man, enjoyed hearing your rant earlier, brother.
Big up to you, Matt.
All right, Kyle, have a good one, brother. I'll catch y'all boys later on, man. Thank y'all so much.
Care, Matt.
All right, cheers. Thank you very much indeed. And we will now, of course, bring in the infamous Dal, better known as Oregon Gooner. And I will go back to the panel in a minute. But first, Dal, good afternoon to you. I don't need to ask you how you're feeling. You must be absolutely livid.
I'm
Fire away.
livid. I'm livid, but how can you top what just Matt did? That was absolutely spot on every single point for sure. I'm pissed at the technical schoolboy crap I saw today. And I don't, singling out players. Some say to do it, some say don't. But you know what? When you're Rob Holding and you're pushing up on Holland and he's got the ball, kick the ball away. Kick the ball away. Just kick it out. I mean, it's just those little things, Manny, that I saw that those little mistakes that we talked about week in and week out that are going to burn us, and just the mentality is just, it's falling apart. Like Darren was saying, it's just falling apart. Brick by brick, it's coming apart. I don't see us winning any more games. I don't. I really don't. I just see us struggling to get draws. We struggled through that whole game today. There were certain times Odegaard and Xhaka were playing tiki-taka, and then the final pass went right to a Man City player who just booted it right over. I mean, it's just these schoolboy errors that we're making. It's like they've never played together before. They look like strangers out there today. What is he saying to the players? What is really going on? I mean, it's just at 1-0, I thought we had a chance, 1-0, my hopes were up for a 1-1, and then the Stones goal, fucking, sorry for my French, just killed it. And I'm at a loss for words, especially I can't really come back to much of what Kyle and Matt were saying. Every single point is true. It's a joke. We put out a circus there today. And it's heartbreaking. And I'm angry and heartbroken. And I don't know where we go from here, guys. I really don't. So,
you know what they say?
Yeah.
You point a clown, you must expect a circus, and a circus is what we got tonight, as Dal would say. Now, Static, I know you've got to leave, but I want to put you on solo and shout you out so that you can shout yourself out and tell us where and how we can find you.
Yes, you can actually find me on Instagram, static__5. You can also find me on YouTube. Obviously, I've got my own channel. I haven't set up or anything yet, but I'm working on it. But if you can find me anywhere in the Arsenal community, just come say hello and I'll respond.
Big up to
Brilliant. Thank you very much indeed, Staff.
Can I just say, sorry, I just want to say thank you so much for having me on, and big love and respect to everyone in live chat. I'm sorry, but Arteta has to go. He's done.
Absolute
Okay.
Facts.
All right. So thanks a lot, Static. We will see you again soon. And again, the link is here in the chat. So if any of you want to come on, and I see you in the studio, I will make sure you come on and have your say. I know that Gemma was on earlier, but sadly I couldn't get to her. I hope she comes back. But we are now going to get to a question over here. I think many of us are in agreement right now that actually we'll save this question for later. But I do seem to remember asking Matt about the lineup, and I think I asked him the question about, the tactics that Arteta employed and Pep employed. I think Pep showed his willingness to be able to, adapt and be more pragmatic, whereas Arteta, he only seems to learn one way, and because that one way has made him so successful, he can't adapt. So, Darren, just quickly, I want to ask you, what did you think of the lineup today? What did you think of Arteta's tactics? And what did you see in Pep Guardiola tonight that Arteta simply didn't have, and probably might never have?
Well, for a start, as everyone said, he just plays the same team all the time. It's no great secret, is it, that Saka looks bombed out at the moment. Could have started Trossard, that for me offers a little bit more than Saka at the moment. Probably deserves his place ahead of Saka. Now, I've always been champagning Saka all season because I think he's had a brilliant season, the lad. And he's a strong lad. He's up and down. He's very reliable. But clearly, in these last 2 or 3 games, he's burnt out. He's gone. So, first of all, that would be my criticism. But tactically, when you're coming away at Man City and they're better than you, you've got to do something different. You've got to think outside the box. Now, in that game tonight, I didn't see any control whatsoever in the midfield. We didn't have any possession of the ball whatsoever. So here's the thing. At the end of the game, I was thinking to myself, right, so you ain't got no control of the midfield. Rodri's a big lump. How about, could you have considered putting in Xhaka, Jorginho, and Partey, 3 midfielders in the middle, 5-3-2, right? Something different, yeah? Something that Pep doesn't know about. Something that, when he sees the team sheet, thinks, fucking hell, that's different. What we're going to do now? You could have said to the back 5, Ben White and Zinchenko or Tierney, whoever you're going to play, right, let's keep it tight. Let's get to like George Graham did at Anfield. Let's get to half-time at 0-0. Let's keep in the game. Because even when it was 1-0 tonight, we were shit. We deserved to be 4-0 down. But we've all seen it in Premier League games and in football, where if you hang in and the other team don't take their chances, psychologically, it starts getting to their brains. They start thinking, is this our night tonight? Is something not going quite right to finish this team off, right? So what I would have considered doing is doing a 5-3-2, perhaps, and putting the 3 central defenders, perhaps in the middle. Something different for a chat. Maybe Martinelli and Jesus up front, for example. Something different, but he was never going to win with that format, that same old again. And what does he have to do to be like Pep? I don't know. I think Arteta should be like Arteta. That's who he is. And all right, he's learnt off Pep a few bits and bobs, but he's always going to be Arteta, and he's never going to be Pep. So I just think it was an opportunity lost, and I think this season could go down as the season where we lost the league against not Liverpool, not Man City, but Southampton and West Ham. Because if we'd have won those games, we could have afforded to go to City tonight and lost. All the pressure was on us tonight. We had to win that game. Draw no good, defeat no good. Never mind the pressure's on Man City, some people are saying before the game. Pressure was all on us. We had to go there and win. If we'd have gone there knowing, right, we can afford to lose this, let's take a gamble, let's relax, let's just get out there, get it done. We could have come out of the Etihad today thinking, right, we go and win all our games now for the rest of the season. We're the champions of the league. But we ain't doing that now because we bottled it against Southampton and bottled it against West Ham United away. Disgraceful.
Absolutely. And this isn't even like the 89 season where, if memory serves me right, we drew against Wimbledon and lost to Derby, or was it the other way around, before going to Everton, Liverpool, and winning at Anfield when we needed to. That team had character. That team had a manager. Central, let me come to you. Obviously, you would have had some ideas about had your thoughts about the lineup, and you must have been sickened by the same lineup being put out again. In fact, the stat was actually put out when I was watching that Arteta had actually made the fewest changes to his first team of all managers in the Premier League. And that has done a fat lot of good, seriously, because as Darren has said, Saka now looks burnt out. Even Martinelli had a no-show tonight. And Zinchenko, well, he tried to do his bit in the midfield, but when Kyle Walker, who isn't even considered good enough to play in Pep's system by Pep himself, starts tonight and has a stormer on the right side of the defense and the right side of the field, you know that Arteta's tactics were all wrong. Let me ask you, who would you have started tonight, and what sort of subs would you have made, and when would you have made them? I want to put you on the spot here.
Here's my starting lineup against Man City: Ramsdale, White, Kevior, Gabriel, Tierney, and then the midfield is going to be I say Partey, Zinchenko. Yeah, I'll go with Jorginho, and then the front three I go with Trossard, Jesus, and Martinelli. And then if we're about 1-0 down or 2-1 down, if we're if we nick a goal and then they come back to 2-1, I'd rather take off Zinchenko for Xhaka and give Reece a game for a whole bulk of the game. I feel like Reece came on, he got 15 minutes. It's just and also my nitpick about it, we're playing side to side, back to back, side to side, back to back. It's that's I hate that, man. We don't press enough. That's the problem.
It's a bit like a crab, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the walking side, side walking. Just put pressure. We don't press. Why could it be like a Leeds United from the 70s? Shithouse their way. I'm not saying go around punching people in the faces and get sent off. No, not like that. Just press them, push them, keep them in their territory. We don't do that, we don't have that type of players. You could say Zinchenko, cool, Partey. You could tell, I say I'll buy into Partey and Xhaka, but you need you can't really do it with fucking Jorginho. He's only 30-something years old. You only get 2 or 3 seasons out of him. But that's my 2 cents on it. I don't want to. I was planning to ramble, but nah, I'm not doing it.
I think we can tell that loss has demoralized you so much, Central, that you don't even want to say very much because you just don't feel like it. And Kyle, Howie, I think I'll give you a little bit of rest to recover. I want to get Dal in right now. Dal, and I'm probably going to have one more round of questioning, and then we might decide to wrap it up because I don't see any more people wanting to come in. But Dal, I want you to sort of come in over here. Obviously, we've spoken a little bit about the tactics that Arteta employed and that Pep employed. But in addition, I think Central's made a pretty good point where we sort of had to change our approach a little bit, where at least if we're going to the home of the defending champions who have all this talent on talent to choose from and the talent of which they can boast, then the very least we should have done was shown a little bit more attrition and tried to do whatever we could to frustrate them. But it seemed to me that Pep seemed to be 2 steps ahead of us. So maybe there is an element of truth in what Martin Keown is saying, because not only in terms of development are we 10 steps behind, I think tactically we seem to be 10 steps behind. And who would you have put in the lineup today, and what do you think Pep got right when he played?
The lineup for me, I think I would have put Zinchenko on the left, Gabriel and Tierney in the center, and Ben White on the right. I would have gone with a 4-2-3-1, and I would have put Partey and Jorginho in front of the back 4, and then the normal 3, Martinelli, Odegaard, and Saka on the right, and possibly, I said Jesus the other day, But yeah, I would have gone with Jesus. But now looking back, right, I think I would have put Trossard in there more. Put Trossard on the right, or maybe Trossard up front, and maybe bring Jesus on the wing. But one thing I know tactically is that if I know Holland is going to score goals, which he's going to do at home, I'm not going to put Rob Holding on him. Like, just because you have a left-footed center back doesn't mean he can't play on the right side in some ways, right? Why wasn't Gabriel stuck to Holland the whole time? That's just another tactical piece, right? And number two, the Zinchenko inverted was another tactical piece that everybody knew he was going to do. Like you said before, Manny, and even Central, Pep's looking at the lineup saying, oh, this is easy. They just did this every other game or every game. All I got to do is look at the tape. I know exactly what to do. And he positioned his players just right. And that's the thing. He positioned them in the right parts of the pitch. That's why Pep always gets it right. He tells the players to play in their positions. There was a time in the first half we had them cornered in the corner, and I think it was their first goal, and Walker just heaved it out, touch, goal. I mean, how can we press like that and not even make even physical contact? And that's my other point too, Manny, is that there's no steal. They just brushed us off. They just brushed us off like we weren't there, just brushed us right off the ball. And we haven't had any steal in the midfield really since Patrick Vieira. Party's shown, parts here and there that he's, got the balls to do the job. But what have we really watched him do the last 5 games? Nothing. So
I get
those, to point 4, the mentalities and Pep's mentality is just win at all costs. And if we're not winning, figure out a way. There's always a plan B. And that's, again, what we've talked about many times. There's no plan B. And it was evident again today. And it's just we're too easily found out, and we have no steal.
Okay, now, Kyle, I'm going to come to you now because obviously Brandon was here, but he will be coming back, so you're going to get to speak now. I once again have to compliment you for saying we're not going to win the league when we were still, looking forward to playing these recent games with a very big gap, and we were still feeling a little bit confident. I think we can trace, the cracks coming in West Ham. But a lot of people have pretty much made it crystal clear that the January transfer window business was probably what kicked us in. Because we had a chance to get Mykhailo Mudryk and we got Leandro Trossard, which on the face of it was a huge save of over 70 million quid. And of course, money saved is money earned. And then, of course, instead of getting Moises Caicedo, we ended up getting Jorginho, the Chelsea reject, who I think I can agree with you right now because everyone here seems to be saying that Jorginho would have started if only for Pep to try something new. But one thing which you and I can both see in Jorginho is that maybe his speed seems to have diminished a little bit, and he probably wouldn't have been able to withstand a full onslaught of Gundogan, De Bruyne, and Rodri coming up in that 3-man midfield. And of course, it was interesting to see, even with their positions changed, they could still go into different areas on the pitch and still cause us problems. So I don't want to ask about tactics again because we're beating this dead horse, but I think I want to ask you, do you believe that our poor business in the transfer window has cost us this time around? Because on the face of it, it looks to be Bruno Guimaraes all over again. And who would you have gotten in? What sort of business purchases would you have made to strengthen our squad? Because now, not only are we still playing more or less the same team week in and week out and running our players into the ground, but we don't seem to have the strength in depth. We don't have the steel, as Dal has said. So who would you have brought in? Let me know, please.
Yeah, man, you made some very good points there. And the January transfer market was an absolute shambles. But I personally believe that every transfer market that we're involved in is a shambles. Trossard was a great addition. No problem with that. He's a top player. I was delighted that he came to Arsenal. But we have to look at the bigger picture. When we talk about transfer windows, and this summer, I want to see this summer, we have to offload a lot of deadwood that's at that club, such as Granit Xhaka. He has to go at the end of the season. Such as, this is just my opinion, Rob Holding has to go. He's not good enough. He's been at the club for so long. He's not good enough. Now, I don't want to see Tommy Asu at the club. Out. I want Smith Rowe out. I want Thomas Partey getting on in years. I think he's 31. As far as I'm concerned, he's off the pace when the season's come to the end. So there's a question mark on Thomas Partey. This is just my opinion. I don't want to see Jorginho. Why the hell did we buy Jorginho? He came on there for half an hour tonight, Manny, and he didn't kick a ball. Too busy laughing and joking with the opposition. Not good enough. Odegaard. Not only do I want him stripped from the captaincy, I want him his suitcase packed and out the door. Not going to win anything with that mentality. It's not good enough, Manny. So, and I want to say something now that's going to shock a lot of people. But you know me, I shoot from the hip. If you're expecting to do anything in the Champions League or to go on and win the Premier League title, you need a quite lot more than Jesus and Eddie Nketiah up forward, let me tell you. More threat. I'm going to show you, just 1 second, I'll show you something. 1 second, I have it right here. Eddie Nketiah, right? See that? That's a box of matches. He wouldn't fucking strike matches. Eddie Nketiah. Not good enough. Out. £100,000 contracts. Are you kidding me? Cartoon Club. Jesus. Everyone raves about this Jesus like he's some kind of legend. He ain't no legend in my eyes. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He causes hassle. But don't expect him to score you 30 goals a season. So, next transfer window, we have to spend serious amounts of money on a natural goal scorer. If you don't have a goal scorer, you're not going to win a league title. So we need a top goal scorer. We need 2 top-class midfield players, man. We need at least another 2 top-class centre-backs. Because that was embarrassing there tonight. If we're supposed to love this whole process thing and we're at getting Champions League football, we may strengthen. And when I say strengthen, I mean top quality international football players. Not the likes of this Kia Ward fella and fellas like that. Not good enough. So, Manny, there's a lot of work to be done, man. There's a lot of work to be done. But if it was me, I want new owners. I want new board. I want new management. And I want at least 6 or 7 of those players to start the club out. And massive money invested in that club. So there's a lot of work to be done. But it ain't going to happen, man. So this time next season, we'll be sitting here without challenging for the title. Again and again and again. Repeat. Because it's acceptable that these crowd of wasters of a fan base. I'm sick and tired of it. Maybe I should sit back. I put up on Facebook there. Maybe I should sit back and just be like the rest of us and just accept mediocrity and accept this bullshit year in, year out. Maybe I care too much. So, Manny, I'm disgusted. I'm absolutely disgusted. Tonight, I'm heartbroken. And Odegaard, the captain, being substituted in the biggest game of the season. Our captain, did Patrick Vieira ever get substituted in a big game like that? The Tony Adams, the Frank McIntosh, David O'Leary, the likes of these colossal players. Did they ever get substituted in games like that? No, they didn't. They put their bodies on the line. What does this Odegaard do? Goes around like a fucking ghost. Sick and tired of it.
They worked for the manager, Kyle. They worked for the manager in the club. That's what they did. They were workhorses for the club.
Exactly. And of course, I think as Darren has mentioned, a lot of these former players, the English former players like Seaman, Parler, Keane and Wright are complicit. But then you got some foreign legends like Henry, Dennis, Manuel Petit and others getting slagged off by the fans. It's pathetic. But again, the other former Gunners can, say whatever rubbish they want. posing new merchandise and they get supported. It's a ridiculous cycle, but you can't really do very much about it. We're still waiting for Brandon to come back, and I'm sure by the time he comes back, he'll have an answer. Everyone is saying, obviously, that we need to get rid of the manager, and I've actually changed my opinion on him. I don't want to see this fellow again lead our team, because he's shown with his inflexibility, his poor judgment and acumen, that he will not take us forward, be it in the Premiership or in Europe. And of course, in the Champions League, we're unseeded. We might get two of those big giants in our group. We're not going to qualify. I don't even know if we're going to make it into the Europa League. Even if we do, it'll be out of the frying pan into the fire. You get to hear that same music again and again and again. The irony of wanting to hear the Champions League music, but then realizing you're not good enough and then going back into the same cycle again. Oh boy. Next season, these fans are going to have an absolute reality check. But then this is a question here from Tony Blackwell. I think he's asked this question before, but I've highlighted it now. Who do you think we should bring in next season to try and turn it around if Arteta ends up by some miracle leaving? Other teams are going to buy big, improve, and can Arsenal compete? Obviously, Kyle has alluded to the fact that we need to get some better players in, and maybe even a new manager if we can get. Is there an echo going on there? Thanks, Central. So obviously, we need some new players, as Kyle has said. Yeah, we need some new players, as Kyle has said, and maybe we need a new manager. So, new manager, new players coming in. Darren, let me start with you. Who do you think you'd get in as a manager, and what sort of players would you like to buy?
Well, I mean, the first choice would be Ancelotti for me, but I mean, that's just ideal world. The Bulls, I can't see them going because they don't know what they're doing. They don't know who they're looking for. They ain't got the first clue about football. They don't know who's a good manager. All they'll get told about is, oh yeah, this guy's the cheapest. He's up and coming. He's learning. The other day, the Brighton manager was suggested. So manager-wise, I mean, it'd be Ancelotti, Simeone. It'd be great and all. But we're just not going to go and get and do what we need to do. That's the bottom line. So that'd be my first choice managers. Who else have you got in the Premier League that could step up? I can't really think of anyone at the minute in the Premier League that could come in and do a decent job for us. But players-wise, I mean, I won't be very well liked for it, but I'd go and smash the transfer budget for Harry Kane. I'd bring him in, stick him in the front line because he's something different. He's a tall bloke. He's good in the air. He can really find his goal-scoring touch with us. That's the sort of player we need. We need a big target man. All these other teams have got it except us. Man United have got Weghorst. Man City have got Ireland. Liverpool got this Nunes bloke. And we ain't. So we're meant to be this elite club that are now in the Champions League. We ain't got a plan B up front, a target man, someone who's good in the air, that can stick the ball in the net or at least show a bit of physical strength to hold the ball up. We ain't got none of that. We're just lightweight. Up front, a player that's impressed me lately is Ollie Watkins. Whether he's the answer or not, I don't know. Tielemans got mentioned at Leicester, but I think he's just got injured and he's off the boil. Another player that I think is under the radar that's probably unfashionable and I'll probably get slated, but I don't care, is McGinn of Aston Villa in midfield.
John
He
McGinn,
puts his
yes.
foot in, he tackles, he gets around the pitch, he gets the odd goals, comes up with goals. What we need is rough diamonds. That's what we need, right? If I'm not going to give you names right now, what I'm going to say is the type of player we need. People with winning mentalities, people who get angry, who don't sign shirts at half time, people that are going to go out there and get pissed off if they get beat, not laughing, right? We need people like that. That's the sort of rough diamonds in your team, just 2 or 3. and all right, people are like, oh, look at Zinchenko. He ain't a rough diamond. He's not. He's not it. He's not. Man City would never have got rid of him. Never have got rid of him in a million years. If they couldn't do without Zinchenko, there's no way they'd get rid of him. They just wouldn't sell. But what we need to do as a club is start looking at the Aston Villas and these other teams that are up and coming, like your Brightons, your Villas, and think, right, well, they're making progress with a reasonable manager. They must have some good players in there. Like Southampton had Mane. Look how good he was. He was banging in hat-tricks. And we're all wondering, oh, why don't we go in for him? Liverpool get him. Next thing, they're winning leagues and Champions Leagues. What we got to do is start picking, targeting these clubs. Not your cast-offs from Chelsea, your Jorginhos and all this crap. We need to look at players that are up and coming, that are hungry, that ain't made a name for themselves, that want to play in the Champions League and they want to get in the Champions League regularly and win trophies, right? And cups. And here's the other thing with cups, right? Look at what's happened to us. We've gone out all these cups. Soon as we ain't got no cups to play for, we take a nosedive because all of a sudden the players are not warmed up. They're not thinking, I've got 2 games this week. Train hard, fight easy. Train easy, fight hard. Yeah? You've got to be at it for as long as you can. It's utter claptrap. How did Man United win a treble then? If you can't be in 3 competitions and you got to have a rest and all this nonsense, answer me this. How did Ferguson win 3 cups in a season? And not Mickey Mouse cups, FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League. How's he managed it? It's possible. It's doable. You can do it. Yeah? So Arteta has made a terrible error in fielding all these Mickey Mouse teams, putting Kiwior in and players like this in big games, Europa League, FA Cup. Got us knocked out, and then you hear our fans saying we've got bigger fish to fry. And now look, we ain't got no fish, not even a fucking stickleback or a sprat left. And we're only in April, we're not even in May. Pathetic. Let's start acting like the club we were when we were in the Champions League, even under Wenger. All right, we used to get battered by Bayern Munich, right? But there was something about Wenger at the Emirates in the early days, not towards the end, but in the early time when we first moved in 2006, and all the time at Highbury, where we all just had a feeling one season Wenger might get it right and he might just get that extra player with the stardust to get us the Champions League. We had hope. Listen, I'm going into next season in this Champions League. I've got no hope whatsoever. Not 1% hope of lifting that trophy. Nada. Zilch.
Nope. I completely agree. And sadly, it is not only is it the hope that kills you, it's the lack of hope that pretty much puts the nail in the coffin. Brandon, let me bring you in. I mean, obviously, Central, I will come back to you, but Brandon has been trying to come in for a long time. I think you've had some connection issues. Good to have you on. We're going to get back to the new points in discussion, but first, let me hear your thoughts about the game, what you thought of Arteta's tactics, what you thought of the way we played, the way City played, and just fire away. Good to have you on, mate.
It was an absolute shit show, weren't it, boys? Let's be honest. Absolute shit show from the get-go as well. From the moment the lineups came out, I knew he was losing. Purely and simply because I'm looking at Mikel Arteta playing the same players that have dropped points in the last 3 games. No changes, no tactical changes. You know, it's looking like he's going to go to the Etihad and try and play football, which I think is absolute suicide and stupidity. And then you look at the way that Pep Guardiola set up, flooded the midfield. There was so much space in that midfield. You could have fit the Titanic in there. It was ridiculous. Obviously, individual errors again. But for me, you know, it starts with the manager. You've got to make changes, whether that be personnel or tactical. You've got to make fucking changes. I cannot believe that he went to the Etihad to try and play football, knowing that we needed to win that game. The best possibility that we had of winning that game was to set up, keep it tight at the back, and try and play counter-attacking football. Everybody knows that Tottenham are Manchester City's bogey team, right? There's a reason for that. They play counter-attacking football. We needed to win that game tonight to have any hope at all of possibly picking up this league title. There's no hope now, boys. No hope. And it's very reminiscent of what happened last season. And I keep saying it time and time again. Arsenal fans don't listen, right? Happened last season. The pressure was on to get top 4. We was expected to get top 4. We bottled it. Again this season. 8 points clear. 9 games to go. 1 competition we're in. Playing 1 game a week. We're expected to win the league now. We bottle it. There is a soft underbelly about this team, right? Oh, yes. And the mentality is not quite right. It's all right when the pressure's off, but when the pressure's on, they fold. And I blame the players as well, because we had an easy run to the title. All we had to do was beat Liverpool, who we was 2-0 up against. All we had to do was beat West Ham, who we were 2-0 up against. All we had to do was beat bottom of the league Southampton at the Emirates. And this game, regardless of whether we got a battering or not, wouldn't have counted for too much, right? But instead, they decided to take the hard route. They decided to drop points in all these 3 games, become a bit arrogant, not have the right mentality. And then you go into the Etihad and you have to win. And the thing that pisses me off the most is the fact that we showed no heart, no fight, no passion. Them players look like scared little pussies out there. From minute 1 to minute 90, every single one of them showed me no fight, no heart, no passion, no nothing. It was like the game was already done before it even kicked off, right? And I'm saying this, right? I expect us to finish second this season. Now, our process is over. Yeah? We're in a title race, or we was in a title race. So now we need to take that next step. And of course, there's going to be teams around us that are going to improve in the summer. And we're going to be fighting teams like Liverpool and Chelsea, even Man City, even Man United for players, right? And we need to get top players in this team to take us to the next step. But for me, we also need another manager. A winner. Somebody who's been there, done it, seen it. Someone like Ancelotti, right? Because for me, Mikel Arteta has cost us far too many games this season. Old Trafford. You're 2-1 down, 25 minutes to go. You throw on 4 attacking players. We get caught on the counter. We lose the game 3-1, right? You could go back to last week against Southampton. His lack of substitutions, his lack of a tactical change, right? Go back to West Ham. We're 2-0 up. We're cruising. Why are we not scoring more? Why are we allowing them back into the game? That has to come back on the manager. Against Liverpool, defending for 45 minutes in the second half, and he changes fuck all, right? And then again today, we'll obviously I've spoken about the lineup that started the game. 20 minutes into the game today, when we go 1-0 down, you can clearly see it is not working. We can't retain the ball. Manchester City have got far too much possession. There's too many gaps in the midfield. Players are struggling. You have to change it from then. But he just fucking pissed around again on the sidelines with his gormless fucking Lego-headed look, right? And waited until we was 3-0 down to make a substitution. To bring on Trossard, to bring on Nelson, to bring on all these other players like Nketiah, who actually came on and showed a little bit of heart, a little bit of fight. Which is the bare minimum if you're playing for Arsenal Football Club. It's so frustrating. It really, really is. But of course, you know, the Arteta winners, there's still plenty of them. Oh, well, we've got Champions League. Yeah, what are we going to do in it? Fuck all. Oh, well, we'll give him another season. Give him another season. But let's just remind everyone that Arsenal this season have had the second best start to a season of any Premier League team. We was in a title race until the 31st game of the season, right? So there's more chance of us dropping off than what there is of us making that extra little bit to get us over the line. Especially with this manager. It is not just going to be problem solved by signing a couple of top-class players. You need a manager who knows what he's doing. A manager, I've said it before and I'll say it again, and I keep getting, repeating myself over and over and over. A manager is not just there to pick your first 11 and to pick the way that you play. He is also there to win you points. If a game is not going how you expected it to go, if you're under pressure, if you need to change something within the game, you do it. It can be the difference between you getting 3 points, 1 point, or no point. Mikel Arteta waits until the 70th minute to bring on a substitution every fucking game. The guy is tactically inept. He is not fucking good enough. And his in-game management is crap. And they all told us he was generational. And that's about as far as my rant goes, boys. Sorry.
No, don't apologise. Listen, you're here on Del Boy Gunner TV. You're here to say whatever you want. We're here to offer some solutions. And of course, it circles back to the question. And I'm going to come to you now, Central. Thanks a lot for waiting. Obviously, the question was asked who we can possibly bring in to try and turn things around. Now, there seems to be some sort of an echo. I'm hearing something going on.
Just Central. Bounce, Manny.
Okay.
Have to bounce.
Yeah, but listen,
Yeah.
All right, okay, so thanks a lot for coming on, Darren. It's wonderful to have you on. Just briefly tell us where we can find you and stay in touch with you, sir.
Yeah, Darren Sullivan 49 on Instagram. I do a few musical funnies and stuff about the games that we all see, and just try and have a bit of a laugh, really. And let's be honest, at the moment, there's plenty to laugh about with us because we are a bit of a laughing stock, having thrown the title away. So there you go.
Okay.
Good night.
Big up, Darren.
Cheers, Darren. Thank you very much indeed, sir. Have yourself a good night. You might have work tomorrow morning. And I want to try and wrap this up as quickly as possible. Seems that Brandon's gone now too, but he should be coming back. Now, Central, I'm going to ask you right now. Obviously, there's this question from Tony, and we might have one or two more questions quickly before we start wrapping things up. But apparently, a new manager seems to be the priority, and of course, it goes without saying that we need to improve the squad. Ancelotti seems to be the name on everyone's lips, but recently, of course, he fielded. Yes, it was a much changed team because obviously his sights are set on the Champions League because the gap between Real and Barcelona is a bit too big. But they got spanked to the tune of 4-1. So I think the thing about Ancelotti is that when it comes to the big games, he seems to know his stuff, and yet maybe there's a criticism that unless he gets everything the way he wants to, he can't, really be effective. He might be getting a bit old. He might not want to manage in club football anymore. But if possible, would you take him? And if he says no, which manager in the world would you want to come in and try and do a job over here with the players we have?
Ancelotti, I don't think he's going. I heard rumors he's going to take the Brazil national team. On paper, I really want Ancelotti because the trophies the clubs he's been to, like AC, Juventus, AC Milan, PSG, Chelsea, Bayern Munich. I don't think he's going. I don't think he's going to. I don't think I heard the rumors. This is like months ago. Like you said, like the Real Madrid job will be his last job in management. But I was going for I would like Ancelotti. It'd be good, but in reality, it would be more realistic. I don't think he's going to Arsenal, but here's my list. I go with Conte. I think Conte. To be honest, I think he got robbed. I think he got mistreated at Tottenham. Man, I think he's another elite winner. not on the same level as Carlo, but he's like, look at the trophies he won. The clubs he won, managed: Juventus, Chelsea, Inter Milan. He has that winning mentality. But my other list, like I go with Thomas Frank. I think he's doing bits at Brentford. I'll take him. De Serbi, like the Brighton manager. Maybe, but that was the managers, but the players this summer we need to get. I really want a Declan Rice, man. I feel like he said in interviews that he wants to play Champions League football. I think like we need to get him because Manchester United. I think he wants to stay. I don't think he'll go north to Manchester United. But who knows? Never say never. But that's you could say self-proclaimed number one priority signing of the summer. If we get him and Caicedo, that'd be good. That beef up our midfield. You can't rely on fucking Odegaard. Just I think he's. I don't know. I don't know why you get the hype of Odegaard. Like, cool, he had a good season. Like this season was his good season, but we're going to the next season. Is he going to be the Odegaard from 21-22 or Odegaard of this season? Don't know. But Partey, I like Partey, man, but he's getting on in age. He's 30 years of age. You got to focus on. You got to focus on players who's got with a secondary engine. Partey's got like the one engine. If he gets hurt, who are you going to play in that anchor role of Partey? But anyway, and also in the defense, it's harder in defense, man. I can't if Tierney goes this summer. There was one player from, I think he's at Aston Villa, and it's going to be a least popular opinion, but I don't care. I'm going to go with Luca Digne. I think Luca Digne is a decent left back. He's done bits at Everton. He's now doing bits at Villa. I'll take him in a heartbeat, man. Luca Digne. And also in centre back, get rid of Rob Holding. I like the geezer's not good enough. He does try, but he's not gonna. He try, but he's not gonna win you Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues. It's funny. Like in this game, when he scored that goal, he did that wink. But in reality, I think the centre back I really want is from Aston Villa. I think it's that Anderson. So that's it.
You mean from Aston Villa, the centre back? You mean Tyrone Mings or Konsa?
No, Digne, Luca Digne.
No, that's the left back. But you said you wanted a centre back from Aston Villa.
Oh yeah. So, no, that Crystal Palace player that what's it called? That Joachim Anderson, I think he scored.
Joachim Anderson, yeah, he actually scored an own goal against Wolves and was partly responsible for the side losing. But I get where you're coming from. I mean, he's a decent defender. I think he just needs to know where to get his not to get his feet in the tangle at times. Yeah. Central, go ahead. Anything else you want?
Let's do attack. It's hard in the attacking department. I think we need a striker, man. Jesus, too short. He's okay. He's okay as a he's not really like a striker, but we need a striker. I think. Tony, I think on paper sounds like a good idea. I think he's bust his ass at Brentford the last 2 seasons. Harry Kane. I think Harry Kane. I think time is it's not on his side because of his age. He's 30 years old. But same as Tony. Tony is people realize Tony's not. I think Tony's 28. You can get 3 or 4 years out of him. But I go with it's one or the other, man. I think my gut feeling Harry Kane is going to Chelsea because of Pochettino. But I go with Ivan Toney's he's starting to make strides in the 2 seasons
in the Premier League with Brentford.
Okay, thanks a lot for your answers. Kyle, I'm going to come to you now. And this question is from Ryan Stockley, who's been asking this question twice, I think. What do we do in training all week? Now, one of the things which I've seen certainly in these last few games is, the mistakes that have been made by so many of the players has been absolutely awful. People are going to talk about how Ramsdale's been making some terrific saves, but on several of the goals, his positioning and handling have been, found wanting. Holding tonight as well showed positionally and also defensively why he can't be trusted to, perform that role. He was supposed to guard Haaland tonight, and he wasn't able to do that. And then you have situations where there was just no penetration, balls being given away, and nobody being willing to really step up and really show that spirit. So it begs the question, if these so many mistakes are being made, what is being done in training all week? And we have a World Cup winning defender in Per Mertesacker, who also serves as an assistant coach of sorts. What sort of role is he playing in trying to get the defenders to defend better? And just what exactly is going on? Are our coaches fit for purpose? We keep getting too many injuries. Would you say that the coaching structure, not just the head coach, but the assistant coaching structure, needs to be ripped up and a new structure needs to come in?
Absolutely, 100%. Not good enough. We're playing one game a week. And this is the trash that we're watching. Not too much. I tell you, I look at pictures there, Manny, and I see video footage. Lads going out high-fiving each other. It's all laughs and jokes and all that bullshit. Giving each other piggybacks. You go in there, you train like you're playing a fucking match. Competitiveness. Competition. Exactly. When you're on the training ground, you get the winning mentality. You should be looking at history. How the club was formed. Where it came from. Look at the titles that we won. Look at the past players, the greatness of the club. Hype yourself up.
Yeah, let me just cut in. I'll come back to you. But I remember watching an interview with Eamon Dunphy, the head-to-head series, and Graham Souness came on, and obviously he was doing some work with Satanda Sports at the time. And one of the things he said to Eamon Dunphy was that he learned very quickly that when you're at a club like Liverpool, where you have serial winners around you, you train the way you play. And I think you've hit the nail on the head. There doesn't seem to be that intensity anymore. So why is there not that intensity anymore? Do we not have players who are willing to really, hammer it in what it means to train? What is going on?
Manny, the problem is, back in the Graham Souness days, that's what football was football. These days, the modern player today just worries about social media, Instagram, Facebook, all this bullshit, picture, tattoos, how their hair looks. Ridiculous stuff. That's all they care about. Followers. It's a disgrace, Manny. You go in there. If I was Arteta, I'd be sent the lads there over the last few weeks. One game a week to win the Premier League. This is what it means. It's disgraceful. These lads are multi-millionaires and they're not trying, they're not bothered. If I go into my job tomorrow morning, Manny, and put a performance in like that, I'd be sacked. I'd be told to go home. What good am I going into a job that's, it's a joke. I won't go into much detail, but I'm a social care worker. And I have to go in and I work with troubled youth. And if I go in and I get a lot of cases, and if I go in and I don't read, and I get a case file, and I look at the case file and I only half read it, and then I go into the young child and I have no idea what the case involves because I didn't put in half the work, I'd be sacked. These multi-millionaires put in not even a half performance, and they get away with it. There should be consequences for their actions. There should be accountability for their actions. No,
absolutely.
It's not good enough. Training. We're too busy laughing and high-fiving, taking pictures and social media and piggybacking each other and driving around in Range Rovers and shit like that. That's what they're interested in. They're not interested in winning Premier League titles anyway. I can guarantee you that. Manny, I'm going to pop off here, man.
Yeah, listen.
Pleasure to have you
Yeah.
all there tonight. Big up to the panel. Big up to the chat. I'm absolutely destroyed here tonight. Yeah, get me on Clive Walsh Corner. There's going to be a lot of content now coming up, lads, because this is not acceptable. The fan base are a joke. The ownership are a joke. The club is a joke. The manager is a joke. And the players are a joke. Club is fucked. Well, anyway, I'm out of here.
Cheers, Kyle. Thanks a lot for coming on. Central, I know you have to leave as well, so just shout yourself out and tell us.
You can find
you.
me on YouTube, Central Man Network on YouTube. I'm on 350 subscribers.
Okay, we will definitely look to find you. Have yourself a good night, and remember, the sun comes up tomorrow, so don't drink too much. You need to get up early. Thanks a lot, son. Okay, so Dan, it looks as though it's just you and me tonight. And listen, we need to get rid of there's an echo coming. I don't know where that is.
Do you hear it now?
I still hear an echo. I'm not too sure where it's coming from.
Is it maybe from my mic?
Maybe, I don't know. Okay, it seems to be decreasing a little bit. Okay.
You okay now?
A little bit more if you can. Okay, so we're into the last 5 or 10 minutes now, and obviously we take a look at. I think there was a point over here where Tony made. Roberto De Zerbi would be a good fit at Arsenal, but listen, he's not going to do a Graham Potter, having just come to Brighton and work miracles with this team, leading them to an FA Cup semi-final, and just walk away when he knows that he can build a lot more. One name which hasn't been mentioned though, despite doing some good things for his club, is a certain Unai Emery, and the reason why he's not mentioned, of course, is because he had a stint. Where is that echo coming from, then? I really don't know. I'll tell you what. Just mute yourself for a minute, and mute yourself, and then I'll speak. Then you can unmute yourself when I want to talk to you. So obviously, the reason why Unai Emery's name hasn't been mentioned is because he had a stint managing us for about 1.5 years. It went well enough in the first year, but then we also had a bit of a choke, almost like what's going on right now. In the second season, results weren't getting any better, and he had to go. But this season at Aston Villa, he has taken the team from fighting relegation to potential European qualification, and he's done it playing a 4-4-2 formation with the midfield four basically playing in sort of a diamond style formation, and they end up, creating a lot of activity for the likes of Watkins and whoever else is up front, Buendia up front or whoever, to sort of latch onto those balls and score some goals. And they've had a magnificent run so far. Maybe Emery's problem is that he does tend to suffer second season blues, but he does seem to be learning a great deal from his mistakes, and maybe a club like Aston Villa is perfect for him right now. But when I take a look at him, I see someone who tactically is a lot more on the pulse, who doesn't need to use his inverted crap to get results, and who has been able to secure results so far. And if Aston Villa manage to get into the Europa League, or maybe even the Champions League, because Brighton, of course, lost today, they do have some games in hand, but they've got to play Arsenal and Manchester City. So Aston Villa do play Brighton on the last day of the season. Newcastle could also have a slip up, and if he gets them into Europe, it'll be an even bigger achievement. But if push comes to shove, would you take Emery back? And if not, who would your choice as manager be?
I would take Emery back in a heartbeat. Right now. Just sign him up right now, Manny. I mean, because he has tactical doubts. He's won European Cups. He knows what players need to do what in what positions, right? The 4-4 goes back to the classic 4-4-2 and gets results. I mean, it's just the way he's been able to harness the talent at Aston Villa and make it work is really pretty incredible to watch the last few weeks, hasn't it? I don't think we should have gotten rid of him. He wasn't my first choice. Obviously, when Wenger left, Ancelotti was, and we know how that all went. I'm not going to get into the details of that. But and Emery's a good shout, but I truly believe the Arsenal board won't let that happen, right? I don't think they're going to go back and say we made a mistake or anything like that and bring him back to a bunch of hurrahs and cheerleading. What coach I would look at, nobody I don't know has really mentioned, is Pioli from AC Milan. He's done wonders with AC Milan, got them a Scudetto last year, and I know they're not best this year, but they are in a Champions League semifinal, I believe, and they've beaten Napoli, the team that I think 3 times, if I'm counting right, Manny? They beat Napoli 3 times, I believe. So Pioli's someone to look at. Different tactics of football, but he looks pretty crazy on the sidelines and looks like he means business, and that's part of. I think what Darren and Matt have said before is we need a manager with character. And another one that pops in mind as well as Simeone. I just don't think Ancelotti's going to leave. He's probably going to retire before he would take a project like Arsenal. I think there would be too much clearing out. But if we were to really splash the cash and make a statement to the Premier League, I would bring Ancelotti in and do as much as I could to bring Camavinga in with him, or Vinny Jr. And I know that sounds crazy, but we need to make a statement, Manny. An Ancelotti with the Camavinga and giving him some money to spend and getting out the deadwood is a game changer. And we need solid midfielders that can play the position and make things happen.
Absolutely.
Make a statement. Get a manager and a top player in that the manager trusts, and that's another thing I want to get into for just a short time, Manny. I know we got to go. It's obvious Arteta doesn't trust our bench. He doesn't trust them at all. And so how do you expect them to perform when your own manager doesn't even trust you?
Completely agree. And on that point, Tierney didn't even get to come on, despite Zinchenko completely looking lost and leggy and disoriented. It's clear that Arteta doesn't like Tierney. And so, Kieran, I know you're not watching this, but you've got a lot of people over here who love you, mate. If you stay at Arsenal, you're going to rot to death. Ignore what the top gooners say. Get out of there while you can. Find another club. Play regularly and have the time of your life. Go to Aston Villa. Emery and Martinez will welcome you and treat you like one of their own. Callum Chambers is there too. Or if you want to go to Newcastle and be buddy-buddy with Joe Willock again, whatever you decide to do, the world's your oyster. Do not stay at Arsenal. It is rotten. And Arteta, far from ripping it up and making things better, has made it even worse. And my last question. Normally I do a run-in, but we really only have to focus on the game in front. And I'm not even going to bother with player ratings because apart from Ramsdale, and even he could also have done a little bit better, I don't think anyone comes out of that match with a high rating. Forget about Holding's goal. He definitely gets a low rating. I mean, he did have one good moment against Jackie Grealish, but that was about it. Next match against Chelsea, they got brushed aside by Brentford. Will we beat Chelsea? Or will we slip up against them?
No, we're going to draw.
And how do you say that?
Bro, I don't see us winning a game. The confidence is gone. The mentality's not there. The half the fan base that want Arteta out is just probably increased even more, which is okay. We may win 2 games, Manny, but we're not going to have a run of games. We're going to draw, win, lose, draw, win, lose out the season. I don't know what our schedule is at the head, at the back end for sure. But to think that Chelsea aren't even going to fight, when, again, to me, one of the best teams in the world on paper, they just can't get it to click, right? They just can't score goals. Well, Arsenal's the best team to score goals against, and we've seen that for Southampton, West Ham, Liverpool, and now Man City. So, it just, I wouldn't be surprised if they tonk us 3-0. I really wouldn't. The confidence is so low, Manny. You saw it when we walked out of the tunnel this morning. You saw it. We all saw it. The confidence when we walked out of the tunnel, the very beginning of the game, was not there. They scored in the first 7 minutes, and it was a downhill run from there. It could have been 6 or 7-0, and we are not going to beat Chelsea.
Right. Of course, I mean, it was 8 o'clock in the UK. It would have been 3 o'clock on the east coast of the US, so not necessarily the morning, I would imagine.
No, 12 o'clock my time, so.
So we'll technically the afternoon, but I don't want to be facetious. Correct. And briefly, I will answer this question from you, Jaminho. You ask, if City had Arteta as a manager and Arsenal had Pep Guardiola, who do you guys think would be leading in the title race? Simple. It would be Arsenal. Because in as much as Arteta might have been Pep's student, he reminds me of that sort of student who ends up using Quizlet to ace all his exams and end up earning his degree with highest honors, but learning absolutely nothing, forgetting everything, and not able to apply what he's learned. And I think, great show as well. Great to have you on, Tony. Thanks a lot for your questions. I hope we will, I hope we answered everything. And Jamino, back to your question. Let me see where it is. Just hold on a minute, and we will wrap up. I promise you. Yeah, this is the question. So clearly, Pep would have them ahead. Arteta would pretty much be thrown away. And in as much as people might like to say that Arteta wouldn't have been retained by City if he didn't want to win, it's perfectly clear that the man can't coach. He only has one way. When it looks good, it looks really, really good. But when it looks bad, it looks absolutely horrid. A bit like the girl who had a little curl right in the middle of her forehead. And on that note, we are going to wrap things up because we've been on now for the best part of 2 hours. Once again, I'm sorry that Del Boy couldn't make it today. He has to leave for Spain and have an early night tonight, so I'm sort of picking up the slack for him. But thanks to all of you who've joined in the chat, everyone who's contributed. You're the ones who make this stream what it is, make the channel what it is, and you make things happen. Dal,
Yes,
my
sir.
man. You are now on Solo Layout. Please tell us where we can find you, what your channel is, and what you've got coming up, sir.
Big shout out to the TJ Warren TV and shout out to you, Manny, for running the show today. And you can find me on YouTube at Oregon Goon, and you can find me on Instagram at infamous_Dow. And American Idiot Show every Friday. It's usually 8 p.m., 9 p.m. UK time. Sometimes we have to switch an hour or two because of time differences and all that and other shows. But we have episode 8 coming up, I believe. So we're 2 months into it. I think we're pushing up to 200 subscribers. TJ might be in the comments and correct me on that. But yeah, so we're just working hard on American Idiots Show. And I'm really glad to be part of the show today, Manny. Thanks again.
Nope. Thank you for coming along. And thanks once again to all the panelists who came along. I'm glad I was able to, shout everyone out. Big mention to Brandon as well. You can find him on True Gunners TV. He's had to keep coming in and out because of his poor internet connection, but obviously, we're grateful he came on and had his say. Shout out as well to Gemma's Insta on Instagram. She came in, but I think she had some internet issues and also had to drop out a little bit. I hope that she will come back sometime next time whenever we have a fan cam. And once again, thanks to all of you for putting up with us. Our title challenge is over. All we can do is try and hold on to second. As you can see, confidence for Chelsea is at a low. So even though Chelsea got smacked by Brentford, Chelsea do have a good record against Arsenal at the Emirates. I wouldn't be surprised also if they snuck a tight win. I don't expect them to beat us heavily. And of course, with Aubameyang coming back today and having a few chances, it'll only be a matter of time before he scores. Wouldn't it be nice if, just like Walcott did for Southampton, Aubameyang scores against us at the Emirates and shuts all the top gooners up? I hope that doesn't happen, but I called Walcott. If I call Aubameyang, Sod's Law dictates that it might happen. Dal, thanks to you, to everyone else, and thanks a lot to everyone in the chat. We're going to sign off right now, but as Del Boy always says, take care. God bless every one of you. I hope you all won't lose sleep tonight because, listen, the sun has to come up the next day, and we, obviously we have to, and life has to move on. And we try to win a few games and finish the season respectably. Let's all just take it one game at a time. The title challenge is over. It'll be 20 years of hurt. Will this be the same story? All we can do is wait and hope. Cheers, everyone, and we are out.
Cheers.